The Pathways to Knowledge model of information processing identifies 6 stages that students go through when learning to process information. They are appreciation, pre-search, search, interpretation, communication, and evaluation. More information on this can be found in the Technology as Facilitator of Quality Education model. These sophomore students are participating in an interdisciplinary unit that combines their English and health classes. The students will work in groups of 3 to produce 5-minute videos on an environmental health topic. The videos should try to persuade the audience about an environmental issue. The students enter the pre-search stage of information processing when the teacher ties the English element of the unit to the environmental health component. She relates the unit to the student's prior knowledge as she goes over the rubric for the final project.
Now, the English part of it. We've worked on persuasion all year. If you think back, we started with parliamentary procedure where you had to get up and talk about an issue. We wrote the biology essays and you argued. Your partner wrote pro and you wrote con about a biology issue. We read those nonfiction essays and showed how they used persuasion and all the specific things. They used loaded words and they used appeals to emotion. I'd like you, as you work in your small groups with Ms. Dewey then, to persuade the audience to do something.
The teacher shows the students a video project from a previous year to help them visualize their final projects. The students are in the appreciation stage of information processing as they view, evaluate, and discuss the video. The teacher also encourages the students to evaluate how professionals edit videos.
I've got one video that kids did 2 years ago, and I just picked this one. It happens to be on the front of that tape from that year, and I thought it might be interesting for you to see what they were capable of 2 years ago. You're going to have much better software, and you have a much better technology background than that class did. But it might give you some suggestions as to how they handled it, what they did, and of course, you're going to recognize everybody.
When she comes to the stop sign, she makes a complete stop and looks both ways. What is wrong with this situation? She rolls through the stop sign and does not yield to the disc. In this situation, you see Trisha doing the right thing. She stops at the stop sign and allows Nathan to cross the crosswalk. Pedestrians always have the right of way.
If you were on this production crew, what would make this video even better?
Better transitions.
Okay, more transitions. Now, when you say better, let's go with Brittany's idea. What would improve them? Let's define better. What does better mean?
Like it looks like they just stopped the video and then they restarted again.
All right, so when we learn the software, one of the things we can key in on is how can we make those smooth transitions? Now, we all watch Channel 1 at this school. Your assignment the next couple of days, how do the professionals do it? Watch when you're watching MTV or whatever you're going to watch tonight or this weekend. Start looking at how long the camera shots are and what kinds of transitions are effective. God, Channel 1 has all kinds of fun special effects.
The environmental health teacher has the students break up into groups to complete a planning sheet for their projects. The students demonstrate the pre-search stage of information processing as they work in their groups. They brainstorm ideas and information about a topic that interests them, then they narrow the topic according to the planning sheet and the rubric.
Once you have decided on a general topic, decide whether your idea is too broad, adapt and change as necessary, and then write the final topic as a should question. And then you will use the following chart below where you'll come up with your pros and your cons and then select one pro and one con and decide on what issue you would like to support. You want to do noise pollution? Okay. Oh, great. That'll be great because you've got your youth-oriented. Okay, we'll be watching a video on noise pollution, and you might want to, if you want to use parts of that video in any of your video, you're certainly welcome to. Just let me know, and I'll be sure I have that here.
The English teacher explains the storyboards the students have to make as they plan their projects. She shows them an example from a previous year to help them visualize the assignment. The storyboards allow the students to plan and implement their search strategies. This illustrates the search stage of information processing.
And I'll kind of show you from last year, though, maybe what some of ours might look like. This was a planning sheet like you are working on, and they were just getting started. They've got their topic, they've narrowed it down, they've written their question that they're going to be zeroing in on. And you do not have to be a great artist. This is stick drawings, but at least they're planning. They're planning so that they're not all shots from the waist up, or they're not all shots 10 feet away. There's nice variety. You might even say you want the camera to move from left to right at this point. And you can put underneath either some notes to yourself to remember, or you can even have what you would like to ask. You might even put your interview questions in. But again, if you're going to have a camera and take your time and Mr. Dorscher's time and walk down there and do the filming, then you want to have it all planned out, not just get down there and say, well, it's kind of noisy in here, well, what do you do? So the storyboard sheets are an effort to get you organized.
The teacher shows the students an example of a professional storyboard before the students start working on their own. She uses the Star Wars DVD to help the students appreciate the work that goes into making a professional storyboard. The teacher facilitates the appreciation stage of information processing.
The Star Wars is kind of interesting because on this DVD you can watch the movie. You can have all the movie and the sound and the music going in the background. I guess you wouldn't see the movie. And you can just see the storyboards. So we're going to see some professional. Now remember, they're great artists. I don't care if you're a great artist. You can put stick figures in. But you can also watch this DVD with the storyboard in the corner and the movie showing on the bottom. And so I think that's what we're going to try. Chad, do you want to go ahead and start the Star Wars?
The students discuss their completed planning sheets and storyboards with the health teacher. The teacher helps the students determine the relevancy of the information they have included and helps them evaluate the results of their search strategy. This illustrates the search stage of information processing.
Okay, so here you've got you guys standing out by the river and tell what your project is about. Okay. Now, as we look through this, what we want to do is check the rubric out, and do we have educational value and facts? Is our message clear? Are we targeting in on the youth? And are we being creative and interesting?
We're actually in the river.
You're actually in the river. Well, that's certainly going to be interesting and creative. Okay, so here you're doing facts. Now, how are you doing this?
See, we took some pictures of big companies like dumping stuff into the rivers and stuff.
Okay, okay,
And we'll just probably say some facts or have some across the screen or something.
okay. Where are you getting your facts from?
Probably,
Internet? Okay, that's fine. Save the website and give it credit at the end.
all right.
Well, your facts, the facts that you get,
Could target.
right,
Yeah.
right. I was going to say, be sure those facts are things that relate to.
Yeah. All right.
So are you going to need help with anything? Do you need anything from me to help you? Well, if you do, let me know. But other than that, everything looks good.
The students will create their videos using either Avid Cinema or iMovie. The students first complete a tutorial for their video editing program. Then they begin editing the video footage they will use for their projects. The students are in the communication stage of information processing as they organize their information for a presentation and then edit and revise their work. The project allows them to express ideas through video.
Because I mean, it doesn't make sense to. Well, I know, and we would have moved it, but it's just.
Put it. Can you put it back up on the shelf? Of course, then we had two transitions. I don't know if it will go.
Well, one of them will just become invalid, I think.
Okay, the one hooked to it. You're right. The one in
So we can put stuff about Rise
Right
there.
right in here.
And then do we still want the posters, or do we want to move that too?
We
'Cause
could leave that almost.
Will it make sense though? Because it's not these aren't at Rise.
Right. Well,
So we could start with like a Rise sign and then show them working, and then we'd have to show a Wilkie sign if we wanted to use the those posters.
We could do that though. I mean, we have the Wilkie's clip.
And we could maybe just take a still of that or something.
Right.
The school library media specialist gives the students guidelines for assessing the credibility of the information they have included in their projects. The students demonstrate the evaluation stage of information processing as they evaluate both their process and their product and decide whether they need to find more information.
What's another way that you might evaluate information? Kate?
Like if it came, where it came from, like the source, like if it was from, the Weekly World News or if it was from New York Times.
Okay. What the source is. What's the authority of the source? Is it an expert? Is it something you've heard of before, or is it something a little obscure? So that's a good point. What's another way to evaluate, Katie?
How deep it goes into like your topic.
Okay, how deep it goes into it. What's the scope of the whole thing? Is it an entire book about your subject? Is it one article in the Clayton County Register? Or is it a series of articles on recycling that might have been in a paper? What I'd like you to do now, since you've been thinking about evaluating information, is I want you to get in your groups, the people that you've been working on your project with, and there's a simple little sheet here. Take one and pass it on. We'll want the names of the people who are working on the group, the title of your project, what's your topic, and then list 2 sources of information. Get together and decide between the 2 of you, where have we gotten our information? Then I'd like you to have some discussion on this and decide which of these 2 sources was the best source of information for us, which was not the best, and I'd also like you to decide whether you still need more information and where you think you need to go to get that. Which of those was the better source of information for you so far?
Probably the health textbook.
All right. Because?
It had a broader range of information. The city clerk we got information for the noise ordinance.
Okay. And that was kind of a specific kind of information. So, yeah, he was probably the best source to use for that piece of information, right? Yeah.